Awaken Beauties, finally, it's here. The truth to empower women to true inner beauty through a healthy mind and inner biology. I am your hostess, Cassandra Keogh, a 20-year salon owner, organic beauty product formulator, positive mind management, and clinical hypnotherapist. And I am here to help you stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. Sponsored by evoquebeauty.com. evoquebeauty.com. Now, let's get to it. Welcome to the Awaken Beauty podcast. I am Cassandra, your organic beauty, positive mind management, and biofeedback practitioner. Now, today I'm going to represent a question that I get asked often, and that is hair loss reversible? And it's a very, very, very important question. So I really want to address it in detail and share a little bit about my experience working with women and so many women with hair loss. Now, hair loss is a symptom of inflammation. So first, let's get fundamental to really, truly understanding hair loss as a symptom of inflammation. And there are many unique causes of inflammation, but at the root, that's really what's disrupting the hair that's evolving to hair loss. So when I say unique, because root causes really have a person-to-person story and health story behind them, whether it's chemical exposure or it's genetics or it's stress. And even if someone shares the same diagnosis as you, for example, androgenic alopecia, that does not mean that you have to share the same root causes. And it's very important to note that the diagnosis is not always the same root cause either. I know it's confusing and frustrating at the same time. Now, another important principle is that stress is something we all share, but it doesn't mean that someone or your symptom is presented the stream that always goes back to stress either. So if you have two people exposed to, let's say, mold, for example, one person may be experiencing hair loss, where the other person may be experiencing extreme bloating and rashes. So that's because these symptoms, such as hair loss, are not considered specific, meaning that it's not specific to just one root. And I find this behind my chair all the time. So root causes can really also produce more than one symptom. So it's not typical that every one root cause, there's just one solid symptom. So it's not a one-to-one ratio. So for example, if you have one individual who has been struggling with, let's say it's a mercury toxicity, the root cause of the system, both maybe hair loss or a rash or something else, but it's not necessarily just one symptom from one root cause. So it is a plethora of different things in that ecosystem that's causing the root of the hair loss. So remember that it's not just one thing, but likely many different sources of inflammation and imbalance in the body and in the ecosystem that's causing it. So I talk a lot about functional medicine, and functional medicine really gets to the root, and it gets to what are the symptoms that can really tell us about hair loss. Second, independent of your diagnosis you may have received, symptoms like hair loss are actually a referendum of our current habits, such as our environment, our lifestyles, our nutrition. All of these different things can be a mismatch for our body and why it's not able to regenerate quickly and efficiently. So this should need some investigation, a self-exploration to really find the right practitioner or someone to help you to really explore these root causes. But for some people, this sounds really, really scary, especially when all your hair is falling out and thinking about just your current routine in your head. You don't know how to get out of this fixation. And it takes a lot of introspective time on the client's on the client side, but also finding the right practitioner to work with you, specifically around hormonal balancing. So to regain our health, we need to be willing to learn a new way to live. And it reminds me of the quote that Henry Ford said, if you've always done what you've always done, you'll never always get what you've always got. So if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. So if we want a different outcome, we need to really be willing to embrace a different path. And so in case this sounds like I'm implying that it's anybody's fault that they're having hair loss, that is not what I am intending at all, because it's not always our fault. The mold poisoning, which I was exposed to, was not my fault, but it really broke down my health. And I lost 50% of my hair. However, what we can do is understand is that we're responsible, or rather we are respondable, meaning able to respond to our circumstances. And you have the power to making a different choice at any point in time and having real tangible effects on your health and the health of your hair. But we have to take action. So what results are possible for you? Is your hair loss reversible? It's possible, very possible. Not all women's hair loss is reversible, but it's important to understand that this is highly individual and dependent on many different factors. For instance, inflammation has unknowingly been allowed to be persistent for years. It will take time for that inflammation and that core root to be reversed, especially if it's infections in the body. However, the root cause, I've decided with my functional medicine background, is very, very obtainable, and it is possible. And I find that inflammation is the root of hair loss. And it's critical that we view hair loss as being reversible, or as a clue to pointing that there's something else going on in the health of our body and our ecosystem, both internally and externally, that we can evoke change, to be empowered. So investing in your wellness, really truly caring for your mind, your body, with self-compassion, with love, with patience, finding the time and putting in the money and the resources to create new habits and to find professionals that will help you, such as myself, that then can also refer you to functional medicine doctors that know how to test, is really valuable. So it is possible for you to reverse your hair loss. I know, because I did it. And by really truly addressing our individual root causes, we can feel better than any other time we felt possible. That feeling that we can be empowered, that we found the root, but understand that it'll take time, and then finding the support to do that. And it's kind of like dealing with, IBS. Do you want to walk around bloated all the time? No, like you find that you're in so much discomfort that you actually want to go and make a change. And I find that there's so many products on the market that can be overwhelming too, but we really have to look at what are the key actives? Are they chemical laden? Are they safe? These are all things that we want to look at. And then the last thing is hormone testing. Now, when it comes to hormone testing, the timing is absolutely key. So one important consideration is the timing of testing if you're menstruating, premenstrual woman. So levels of the hormones in women between puberty and menopause fluctuate throughout the month, obviously, as you know, depending on where you're at in your current cycle. So at certain points during the cycle, there's going to be certain hormones that can be low while others are high, and obviously vice versa. So it's really important to have your hormones tested on the right day of your cycle so that you can provide an accurate picture of your overall hormonal levels. And for most women, testing hormones during a mid-luteal phase between day 17 and 21 provides that more accurate testing picture. So you really want to calculate the day of the month when you're going to get your hormones tested and get the assessment. And then by counting forward the first day of your period, 1 of your cycle. So those are just a couple of tips that I have. And when it comes to topical products, we do sell our Root Revival regime kit, and that's a series of a shampoo and a conditioner and our activating tonic. And it has couple key actives in it. One is Redensil, which is 2 times more powerful than minoxidil. It's completely natural. And so it's going to help reduce inflammation, lengthen the growth phase, and reduce the fallout phase. And then we have put, this is so incredible, CBD in it. And so it also contains water-soluble nano CBD, which is also then micronized into a frequency of a collection of hertz that is actually healing to the field of the crown. And so we have so many healing benefits to this tonic, and I lost 50% of my hair, and all of it has come back. It took time, and it was actually pretty quick. And I've watched many women in my chair that I help, I specialize in hair loss, get their hair back just by using a topical. And then obviously I have a collection of incredible functional medicine practitioners and that can help you get the right test at the right time, and really get a big picture of really what's going on so that we can look at the macrocosm and then the microcosm of our environment, because it really does make all the difference to really have somebody stand beside you in faith and patience and really drill so we can find the root cause. So is hair loss reversible? I'm a standing testimony of it. Absolutely is. The science says if it's beyond 5 years to 10 years and you've gone without doing any kind of intervention, then it may be too late. Also depends on your genetics. Miniaturization is what we call when the diffusion of the hair is getting smaller and finer and thinner. And what I find with women, and that's why I always promote our hair revitalizing tonic for any woman of any age, is that when the hair gets fine and so fine that we think it's going to come back, that miniaturization, that phase has gone so far into those lengths of years that we've let it get thin, that we actually start seeing the scalp, that's when we lose time and it's harder to get back. So I always say be proactive. Even if you have a head of hair and you're finding, I just want to kind of, get something into my regime to make sure I'm protected, all the power to you. I think that's a great choice. 40% of women experience hair loss by the time that they're 50. And that is certainly going up. I see younger and younger women all the time. And I do believe that a lot of it's stress. Obviously the chemicals, the environmental exposure, all of these things make a difference, but we actually have capability to reverse it and take power of our own life and ultimately our health and turn down the inflammation. So if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. It's one of my favorite topics just because it is so gratifying to help women get their hair back. And if nothing else, it's not always that it's getting all of it back, but it's to stop the progression of it falling out and the diffusion to continue. We want to get in there and scientifically with proven data, not just a bunch of botanicals, because it's a lot of time not strong enough to just go in and, for instance, this salicylic acid with Aveda, it may work for a lot of people because it's scrubbing the scalp and trying to get all the DHT, which is the male hormone that's trying to get out of the scalp, that's actually suffocating the scalp and clogs the pores in the follicle. But it actually is just, it's using actives where it's just scrubbing the scalp really hard and kind of dissolving that. Where we want to, and what our tonic does with the Root Revival Activating Tonic is it doesn't go in and abrasively scrub the scalp. Our shampoo and conditioner are very gentle, but then it goes in with the right messaging system. Okay, so it goes in with the right key messengers as actives to start telling the cells how to better behave and also to take down the inflammation. And that's what makes all the difference. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you need any help, have any questions, this is Cassandra. Thank you so much for listening to the Awaken Beauty podcast. I just want to let you know there is hope. And if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out, leave a comment on this episode, and go to evoquebeauty.com, evoquebeauty.com. You do get a discount on the Root Revival regime, or you can just go ahead and reach out to me and I'd be answering questions before you needed to purchase. All right. All my love, all my light. Well, hello, Awaken Beauty. Thank you so much for joining the show today. Were you inspired? Please leave a comment or your own personal aha moment so others can capture exactly what you did. Also, please like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're interested in high quality natural products for your hair, skin, and wellness, including organic CBD, please visit evoquebeauty.com. Again, that is evoquebeauty.com, evoquebeauty.com. And until next time, darling, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back.